Government officials dazzle the public with carefully crafted press conferences and press releases. They say, "We are doing great. There's nothing to see here." But behind almost every open records fight, I find corruption. It makes sense though. If everything was above board, why worry about hiding it? Government corruption is able to occur because of insufficient transparency. If every act of government was public, they wouldn't be able to hide the bad behavior. Former Leon Valley City Manager Kelly Kuenstler orchestrated one last corrupt scheme on her way out of town. It's a developing story that I've been working on for over a year now, and after raising hell to access the financial records, I found evidence of multiple instances of fraud. I spoke out against her sinister ploy before her council buddies approved it. I'm about to show the best video I have of my speech. Leon Valley illegally blocked me from video recording. Please leave a comment letting me know what you think about this upcoming video segment. I hope you're able to hear it. Do you think the video footage allows you to effectively learn what happened during the public city council meeting? What do you think I should do about this? I look forward to reading what you think.
Okay, I'm not sure, but there is no employment separation agreement, if that helps you. It's just based on the contract, because the contract talks about the separation. I hope that answers your question.
Okay. But I thought I heard you say there was only one thing that you wanted differently. Is that from your contract, and that's that way your leave is paid out?
It's not that I want it different, I just want it paid out in one form versus the other. I want it spread out over the pay periods instead of paid all in one lump sum in January.
Okay.
That's all I'm asking for, exactly. And that just goes because it adds to the credits for TMRS, but you pay the same either way. You're either going to, exactly, so.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh, Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, Councillor Alcacer, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Sick. So my question is, do we need to take action on that, or is that just at her option?
I would
No, that, the city, I haven't seen the employment agreement recently, so I'm not sure what it says with respect to a payout. If normally payouts are done one lump sum, and so I'm not sure how that would work, but that would have to be dealt with separately.
So it can't be done with this tonight?
Well, it does discuss accepting the resignation of the city manager, and so I think that's sufficient notice that we're going to be discussing issues associated with the resignation of the city manager. So I think that could be, that could be dealt with under this agenda item.
Okay. Well, I think we ought to deal with it then.
Okay. All right. Since we started with the councilors, let me go ahead and call on the councilors, and then I do have a hand in the chambers raised. So, citizens, all right. So, yes. Thank you, Mr. Pulliam, for coming up and not taking your camera and following the rules. Do appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Well, I wouldn't say that's what the rules are, even the law, but I want to get a message across, and I know that armed people will come in all around me. It's a real shame. Everyone would like to see, my view on saying this. And again, here we are, the city manager is resigning, I think for the third time. But, and what is the agreement? Well, there actually is, and I'm sorry, thank you, Mayor and Council, for allowing me to speak. I appreciate that. There actually is an employment separation agreement going on here. It's brought out verbally. Instead of following the contract, following the law, I don't know why the city administration just can't follow the rules. We want to talk about the rules and law. Why can't, for just one time, the city administration follow the rules? They're trying to get an underhanded separation agreement here where you get it spread out. That's not what your contract says. And I guess I was sitting back there, what for could it be? It didn't make sense for taxes. Well, I guess it's extra retirement credits through the state if you do it this way. But that's not what the contract says. It's normally, I've never heard anything like this before, quite honestly. When she unresigns, it's going to make it very complicated after she's already been paid out this extra money. We don't know how many hours or days of leave she might use. Very commonly in these situations, the administrator kind of, when it gets closer to December, doesn't come to work anymore, which is pretty routine. So why not just wait till she's out I mean, she could be here for another 3 years, I think was on her contract. If she resigns, I mean, I think it's all set up that way in Savagio's contract. So how about no new agreement? How about we follow the rules, which is the contract? She can get paid out at the end of the thing. I think there should be first, though, before it's paid out, a full financial audit about every hour on there that she's due for, whether it was double or triple counted, whether she was here or wasn't. I think the people would like to know before that check is cut, and there should just be one check, even if even a check ends up being deserving at the end. I know there are other things in the contract about termination for certain things. So that would be my comment, that there was an agreement brought up here, and I would say no agreement, just follow what's in the contract. And I thank you, Mayor and Council.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else? Yes, sir. If you please state your name and where you reside, not your address, but just generally. Yes, sir. Good evening.
We are Oscar Pagona Place. Thank you, Mayor, City Council. And I'd like to speak to you about the interim city manager because it's also discussed in executive session and along with the resignation. I'd like to discuss that because the employment agreement that is on there is not an employment agreement, it's a proclamation where you go as whereas. And I don't know who did the language, Mr. Zick did it or not, but it is so vague and so costly to the city of Leon Valley that we're giving away close to $200,000. And the verbiage on here lets him get, or he or she, whoever goes, he gets an interim, and I say that's Mr. Savaggio, the Chief Savaggio, that there is no specific job description along with the agreement that tells you or tells the city what he can do, what he cannot do, what his duties are, what his restrictions are, what his travel restrictions are.
Yes.
Mayor,
Well, I'm listening to you, and I know we're talking about the city manager's agreement, so do you want to
What
hold
about
us?
the executive session?
The executive session we haven't come to yet, but it is tied together. If you look at the I understand what you're saying, because it says employment resignation of the city manager and the employment reassignment duties, so that's why
Yes, ma'am, and this is
you are
exactly
taking it
what
together.
is.
But if you'll hold off on that, let's wait and finish the comments on the city manager's
Okay,
resignation,
okay,
and then
okay.
you can come back when we're at that agenda item and give your comments on that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? So I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else?